Brother, you need to understand this. But old habits will die screaming. They will die a painful death as you grow through the pain of change. When you start to actually realise that staying the same does not serve you anymore. And you feel that deeper sense of purpose, alignment, energy from inside you. And you know yourself waking up late, taking drugs, drinking, binge eating, cheating on your diet, missing those sessions. It might feel good in the short term, but all you're doing is creating a gap between the gain, and you gotta realise that the space in which you make for yourself not only will allow you to expand and grow into it, but it will demand a higher version of yourself if you truly want to develop the character, the skill set, the habits in which you are now requiring to ascend into a better state of being in life. I used to be riddled with bad habits. I did. And that pain of change felt so much less than staying the same when I fully realised how negative, how impactful in terms of a negative detriment these habits were having on my life. And it was probably one of the most challenging things I've actually been through. And to be candid and real with you, there was 3 pretty stark wake-up calls I've had. One where I was in my early 20s and I was standing at a rooftop balcony looking down saying I may as well just end it all, because I was so stuck. I was struggling, I didn't know where to go with things. I felt like who I currently was who I was going to be for the rest of my life, and I didn't want to continue living that life with that quality of thinking. And think how dark that must have been for you to actually want to leave the world, how entitled that would have been. You actually want to leave the world because you didn't know you could change. You didn't actually have enough self-belief in yourself that you could change. And there was another one where I was so burnt out, so tired, so fatigued. My lifestyle didn't match up with my habits and vice versa. They all bled into one another, and I was just completely spread from pillar to post. And I eventually fell asleep at the wheel and wrote my car off, put other people's lives at risk, put my life at risk. And I also found myself through these bad habits in which I had, the drugs, the drink, the alcohol, connecting with low vibration people, which I found weirdly to be the righteous path at the time. I felt like they were my people, you know, because I had no self-worth. Being around these people led me to be roped in and caught up with a drug deal which went really, really bad. Could have been put in jail for minimum 10 years. Other fucking dark shit could have happened that night, I tell you, man. I tell you, but I had those 3 wake-up calls. 3 wake-up calls. And it took to the 3rd one for him to say, I've only got this one life. I have no more chances to take. And I need to now change before something changes for me. And I knew I had to take the power into my own hands to course correct the way in which my life was going. Because I was quote unquote a high performing person. I had a business that was turning over good money. I had a relationship. I had good friends, although I had bad friends as well. I had acquaintances which were negative. I had a decent physique, decent health, great family, but I was entitled. I told myself the story every single day that the poor habits were fine, were just okay, it was just a phase. But when a phase lasts for years and years and years and actually has no positive impact on your life, and you start growing and evolving and you feel out of alignment, and part of your soul is wanting to pull this way but your old self is pulling that way, it's going to tear your identity apart. It's going to split your character, and you're going to feel completely out of alignment, and you're going to cause a negative pendulum. And what goes up must come down. You might have good days, you might have bad days, but you know yourself, if you were to finally let go of whatever habits, negative, that are in your life, then you would truly start to transcend and reach a place and space in your own heart and head where you now know you are being the man you were meant to be. Like, it puts me in like a strange headspace speaking about this kind of stuff because it was such a dark period of my life. But finally eradicating drugs, drink, waking up late, porn, binge eating, all of that stuff from my diet, removing negative people from my life. Everything changed, and it was so hard initially, it was so challenging because I cared so much about what other people thought of me. But I had to go through a massive ego death to actually realise that for me to live the life I truly wanted, the habits in which were holding me back had to be cut. Otherwise, I would box myself in, create this glass ceiling for myself and hold myself stuck in a position where I knew I didn't want to be. And over the last 6 months, the last year, I've made more progress than I've ever made. Maybe not from the external, how people perceive it. Yeah, I live between Bali, Dubai. I've got location freedom, time freedom, I've got an incredible physique. I show up every single day with great energy. I truly feel like the biggest win for me has been the internal game. Finally winning it. Finally being able to have enough inspired intention behind how I now course correct my life and live true to the authentic voice of God, aka your conscious. And that is where alignment comes from, conscious congruency, when you actually listen to your heart. Because see, every time you're about to do a bad habit, drink the drink, smoke the smoke, take the drug, eat the bad food, your heart will tell you, bro, you don't need that. You don't need that. And every time you go against that and override that internal thought because you feel entitled or you deserve it, you're breaking trust with yourself, brother. You're breaking this unspoken rule of the universe because you seek that dopamine because maybe other areas of your life are not up to the scratch or standard in which you want, but you gotta play the game from back to front and inside out, because the things that you truly want will only come through renouncing these negative vices and habits from your life. And yes, it will be difficult. Yes, your partner might say, but we always get a takeaway on a Friday. And your mates might say, but we always hit the pub on a Saturday. And you might even say, but when the missus is out, I always go for the wank. I always smoke a little joint on a Friday night to chill out. But you know yourself, man, like, see, doing all that stuff, all it does is numb the pain in which you're already in. You have to fucking expose the pain. If it's a wound, if it's a scar, whatever it may be, you gotta expose it and let it heal. You gotta put the TCP on it, you gotta put the right fucking ointment on it, you gotta expose it rather than just putting a plaster on a bullet wound, because that's what you do every single time you indulge yourself back into these bad habits. And I see so many guys, this is what we look at first and foremost inside my coaching program, is making sure anyone that comes in, what are the bottlenecks, what are the holes in the bucket that are fucking holding you back, where are you draining your energy, what vices, negative habits do you have, what behaviours do we need to course correct and change. Because when we can now create that level of awareness around why you continue to do them, then we can literally remove the why with the who and put a new version of yourself in place to therefore be aware and manage those triggers which create the vice or the habit and change it completely across the board. Because guys, those old habits are going to fucking die screaming, man. It's going to be so painful sometimes to go through that change. But when you find yourself, right, exposing yourself to this change, right, it might take a week, a month, a year for you to go through a full revolution of change. But every time you take one step closer, right, you gotta tick that box every single day. Like if you spoke to like a recovering alcoholic, they don't say I'm never drinking again. They just say I'm just gonna go one more day. I'm just gonna go one more day. And the amazing thing is, which will happen, is the more self-worth and trust you can build with you through putting in that work, the more confidence you'll stack, and it'll build and it'll build and it'll build. And you might not notice it in the short term, but in the long term, monumental shifts, monumental growth. But this is where people fail, because they're only in it to win it on the short term. They don't believe in the long term. They can't picture themselves living a better quality of life. They don't understand why removing this shit from their life will allow them to be more successful. And the thing is, guys, success loves speed, right? So you have to be speedy with your actions. But therefore, success can only have speed when there's subtraction, so removal of anchors, aka vices, negative habits. And then from there, once you've got speed and subtraction, you can literally transcend massively in every domain of your life: body, business, lifestyle, high performance, mindset, and take it to a place in space that you never thought possible, because you actually gave yourself the chance and opportunity to live life true to who you now know you need to be, rather than who you currently are. And it's that identity shift that really has to take place. And without that, guys, you will stay stuck. You will never achieve the level of life you truly want, because you have these negative paradigms which you're currently caught in, and it's making your energy too volatile, your mood too volatile. You're selling yourself short every single week, and you're just like me, how I was. Had a good bit of fitness, good relationship, okay money, good friends, but none of it was great. None of it was exceptional. None of it was at the level I believed I could have taken it to, until I changed everything. Till I got super fucking granular on everything in my life that had to go, so I could really see myself for who I was clearly. Man in the mirror test, look at myself. Who do you truly want to be, brother? What does he look like, think like, feel like? What habits, actions, traits, everything. Who do you need to fucking be? Because when you can build yourself into that man through removal, right? Removal of said negative habits, that is when you can truly latch onto new positive habits. Because you can't just take one out and have that gap empty. You need to replace a negative with a positive, so there's equilibrium and balance. Otherwise it'll be a seesaw and you'll tip. And that's kind of what we want to do. We want to remove all the negative, so the positive tips, and you go down the other side in terms of positive momentum. But if you stop smoking, for example, you got to replace that with some other stimulus. A lot of guys go to vapes, which is exactly the same, to be honest. But if you were to remove smoking from your life, and every time you want a cigarette you chewed chewing gum, that might give you that little swap, that little replacement. And if you're a guy who drinks alcohol, every time you want to drink the booze, replace it with a run. Whatever it is, you can see I could get down a big rabbit hole here. But I need you to realise, guys, that the next level version of yourself requires a better version of your current self. And that current you now has to be able to let go of what now holds him back. Because an aeroplane can't take off from the tarmac if it is anchored and chained to the floor. And that is you right now. If you want to hit turbulence, if you want to transcend, you want to start flying in every area of life, you have to let go of what now does not serve you. Okay? And I want to love you and leave you with that, because it's getting hot up here. But I love you guys. I hate what you're doing to yourself sometimes, I really do. But I just want to chill a little morning conversation with you before I go crush this run. Smash some back and biceps as well, get a breakfast in. But yeah, I love you guys. just keep on fucking hammering, keep showing up for the right stuff, keep doing the fucking good stuff that you know is right for you. But focus on the good shit, eradicate the bullshit. I will see you in the next video. Make sure you're following the daily habits at Lewis McFarlane Coaching over on Instagram, and I will see you legends in the next one. Much love.